us. Sabrina is representing our partner, MPOWER Financing. And so she's going to be talking to us more on assessing low interest student loan. But I just want to say a few things regarding the pertinent questions and the concerns that gets raised from our students. But to clarify, this is a webinar put together by After School Africa in partnership with MPOWER Financing, one of our student financing organization based in the US. And the essence of this webinar is to enlighten our prospect students who are looking to study abroad, who are looking to already working on their admission to study in US and Canada in 2025 for the fall admission. That's August, September 2025 admission. So the essence is to help you to understand the prospects and the opportunity that MPOWER presents and how you can take advantage of it. However, the question often begs for answer as to whether a student loan is for international education is actually worth it. And a perspective that we often enjoin our prospects to consider is the perspective of opportunity cost. So it's a question of you have your current profile as a student or prospective, or rather as a current prospect as a professional. Probably have your bachelor's program or certification programs. You have a job in Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya, as the case may be. And you could already map out the trajectory of your career, considering your profile currently. But then you desire to upgrade your skill and your academic qualification. So the option of going for a master's program arises. But then the question then is, should you go for your master's program? And if yes, how do you fund your education? So if funding is a challenge, usually there's the option of applying for scholarship programs. However, scholarship programs, as we know, are quite competitive. And the chances that you get approved or get the scholarship could be quite limited depending on the type of scholarship you're applying for and your candidacy in terms of your academic qualification, your work experience, your community service engagement, and all those other requirements. And even when you meet all of these requirements, it's not still a guarantee that you're going to get a scholarship. All right, so you could have a scholarship program with 1,000 or 2,000 applications, and out of it, about 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 students are selected. So that makes scholarship option as limiting, as much as that is an option. And we do encourage students to apply for scholarships. However, the number of students that could benefit from the option of scholarship tends to be quite limited. And that is where the option of student loan comes in. And then the challenge then is compared to a scholarship, which is totally free money, student loan, you have to pay back the loan. So the question of what if I'm not able to pay back the loan? What if I'm not able to pay back the loan? That's a common question that students ask. And that is where the consideration of the qualification of the student comes in. So our financing partner considers students' future career potential in deciding on who to offer a student loan. And some of the considerations include whether the student is going for a STEM program or a healthcare program and MBA program, as the case may be. So putting all of these expectations together, our financing partner is able to decide whether the student is a high risk or a low risk student to invest in. So the chances that you could get a job when you graduate is considered. And when we look at the data out there, we would understand that certain programs, like STEM programs, healthcare programs, have high employment rates and also high income jobs as well, which sort of gives you the leverage to be able to pay back the loan in the course of your career after graduation. And then you look at the opportunity that comes with that, which means you have a higher skill, develop a higher skill, higher academic qualification, and that gives you much more leverage. You get to access top quality education at top schools abroad. And that's an advantage that getting a loan gives you, which you wouldn't ordinarily get if you are not able to fund your education yourself. Okay, so generally, and also another advantage that getting a loan gives you is that often students from this part of the world, when looking out for schools to study abroad, often considers things like the cheapest schools to attend or schools that waives all the certain qualification examinations. And that also could impact your ability to get a job when you graduate, because the school you study in matters. So when you are limited on funding and your default response is to look for cheaper schools, the financing institution that provides student loan can come in and make up for the shortfall in the cost of going to a much more prestigious school or a top school in US or Canada. So for instance, we have students who are currently studying at MIT, which they wouldn't ordinarily be able to pay for without a student loan. We have students studying currently at University of Maryland and some of those other top schools in US and in Canada. And that is made possible because they were able to access student loan. So the idea is that you have the option, if you have the option to pay for your study in full, and that is an option you want to consider, then you don't need a loan. But if you don't have enough, say your school would cost about 70,000 and you have like 20,000, and would generally advise that you also look out for scholarship opportunities. So some schools would offer you tuition discount, 20%, some up to as much as 50 to 75%, and in some cases up to 100%. So that would, in this case, reduce your debt burden from taking a loan. So we say out of 70,000, you have 20,000 from your savings or from family and friends. And out of the 50,000, you're able to get like 20 or 30,000 scholarship. Then you could be applying for a loan for 20,000. So that way, you are not taking too much debt burden. However, if you are not able to secure a scholarship, you can also still fund your education on loan. And about the return on investment, averagely, starting salary, like in the United States, for instance, for international students could range from $37,500 to $65,000, as much as $100,000 for STEM programs, healthcare programs, and such other programs that have high employment opportunity. So what does compared to a scholarship, for instance, where out of 2,000 and 5,000 students, probably 10 or 20 students get the scholarship. For a student loan, we have internally we record about 25% loan approval rate. So compared to the number of students that apply for a loan, up to 25% get their loans approved. So this gives you higher odds for actually securing funding for your study. And we've had over $3.5 million loan approved so far this year for over 90 students who are going for the 2024-2025 admission session. Okay, and we have success stories of students who have successfully gone abroad to study on loans and who currently working at high-paying jobs. Particular students, for those of us who attended our live meeting last year, live program, sometime virtually around this time last year, heard him tell his story on how he was able to secure a loan to study at MIT, and currently is working at a job at one of the top companies around the world. So and MPOWER and other financing partners also provide support in terms of helping you prepare your CV and actually getting a job for after graduation. So at After School Africa and our sister company edXtra, we are here to help you with your admission application process. So we ensure with that we are applying at the right schools that are supported by our financing partners, and also schools that would also give you advantage in terms of the leverage from taking a loan. And to learn more about our loan service, you can see the link on the screen, and you can also check if you are eligible for a loan with the link on the screen. But of course, I'll leave Sabrina to delve more on the loan side of things. So that's about that. So at this point, I'd like to invite Sabrina Dorman, who is currently the Global Business Development, Head of Global Business Development at MPOWER Financing.
Great. Thanks for everyone's patience. It's great to be here. As Ikenna said, my name is Sabrina Dorman. I'm heading up business development for Africa for MPOWER Financing. And we are a partner of After School Africa. We work with Ikenna and After School for, as he said, for financing needs of students. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about the loans that we offer, a little bit about the application process, and some of the other, what we call like wraparound support services that we offer at MPOWER. And then I'll leave some time at the end for questions. I know that a lot of you probably have a lot of questions already. If you would like, feel free to enter questions in the chat. Okay, great. So just a little bit of an overview. MPOWER is a mission-driven corporation. Most of us at MPOWER are former international students who have gone through the process of needing to apply and finance and find a visa for to follow our dreams with studying internationally. And so we really do understand the journey of most of the students who are coming to MPOWER for financing. We work with over 430 institutions in the US and Canada. So I do want to be specific about that. We are only serving US and Canadian schools. We don't do Europe or Asia. But pretty much any school that you can think of in the US or Canada, we most likely work with them. And on our website, you can also view which schools are eligible. So if there's particular schools that you're looking at, feel free to go on our website and just check if that school is eligible for financing. MPOWER has been around for 10 years. We were founded in 2014, and we have backing of some of the largest financial institutions in the world, like Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, and we were recently certified as a B Corporation, and also recently launched a securitization of our loan product earlier this year. So really have foundational institutions that are backing us up. So as I spoke about, we support programs in most of the US and Canada, over 400 schools, and we've been around for a while. We've done about 14 billion in loan applications to date, and we really support students globally. We support students from over 200 countries. These are just a few of our testimonials from students. We're really working hand in hand with students to make sure that they can fulfill their studying goals. And so we really make it, we really make sure that we're trying to figure out what is the best solution for a student. We're not just come to the website and fill in some forms and that's that. We really do have a support system for our students to walk them through the process. So these are just some of the notes that we have of reviews from some of our students. The one thing that I think is really important is that when you take a MPOWER loan, you are getting a local bank account. And so you're getting a local bank account either in the US or Canada. And what that does, I'll speak a little bit more about it as we talk about the loan, but that means that you're able to build up a credit score in the country where you're studying. And that's really, really important if you want to continue working in that country and access other sources of financing, such as for a car loan or a home loan or credit. So something that sets the MPOWER loan apart from other financing that you might be looking at, whether in your home country or from other financing partners, is that MPOWER does not require any collateral, and we don't require any cosigner for your loan. That makes it pretty accessible for most people. It also is dependent on, we say on the loan is on the student's ability to be able to repay. And so a little bit what Ikenna was talking about earlier is very, very true with how we look at the amount of a loan that we approve for a student. We look at the program that a student is going to matriculate into. We look at the tuition for that institution and that program. And we look at the expected salary that graduates of that program will earn. And that is what goes into our calculation of the amount of a loan that we award to a student. And so what that means is we're really looking at, we're betting on the student's ability to repay based on the type of job that they'll be able to get after graduation. So we're really looking at the student's ability of future income to repay, and that's how we're looking at this loan. Okay, so a few more details about the loans that we offer. We offer competitive rates, and they're on fixed interest rates instead of variable. That means that they're very predictable in terms of the amount of interest that you're repaying over time. It won't suddenly shoot up over all of a sudden without you knowing. So that's why we do fixed interest rates. And it makes it very predictable for you to know exactly how much needs to be repaid in every period. The loan is 10 years. It's a maximum of $100,000. And like I said, it's dependent on the tuition of the school that you're matriculating to. In the US, it can cover tuition, housing, meals, and other school expenses. In Canada, sometimes it can include living expenses and sometimes it cannot. That's very dependent on the school. We don't do any prepayments and there's no prepayment penalty. The other thing I'll add is that there's a maximum of, you can't take more than 50,000 USD for a semester. The loan is also you only start repaying the principal of the loan 6 months after graduation. And so that makes it much easier for you to be able to manage, getting yourself set up after graduation, figuring out work and figuring out your income so that you can make those regular principal repayments. While you're in school, we have simple interest payments while you're in school. So that is very important because that is what helps build a credit score locally, whether in the US or in Canada. The regular interest payments help you build up that credit score. And so those are the only payments that are made while you're in school. Okay. So in addition to the loan, we also offer a visa support letter, which is really important when you go for the interview to have that support letter from MPOWER that explains the financing and MPOWER ourselves. The loan is directly dispersed to the university. So as soon as you get your admission letter, you get your visa approval, you're matriculating to the school, we pay the school directly the tuition. Like I said, as you make those interest payments while you're in school, that helps build your credit in the country and with that bank account. And then I'll talk about a little bit more. We offer a program called Path to Success, and that's some of the more support services that you might need with regards to matriculating to school and then with a job afterwards. So I just want to highlight that between now and the end of this year, so between now and December 31st of this year, we have a special rate for students who are applying to enter in the fall of 2025. So that means if you're planning on applying to school now and entering in August or September of 2025, you're eligible for this special rate from MPOWER. It's like our early planner rate. And the rate is as low as 9.99%, which is a 10.89 APR rate. It's compiled of two discounts. One is a 0.75% for applying early, for applying now, and then also a 0.25% discount for enrolling in auto pay. And that essentially just means that you're enrolling for those interest payments to be deducted on a regular basis from your bank account automatically. So with those two, there's a possibility of getting a low interest rate of 9.99%. You have to apply before December 31st. You do not need to yet have an admission letter from your school in order to apply. You can go ahead, check your eligibility, apply for the MPOWER loan through After School Africa. And then when you get your application admission letter, probably early next year, then you continue through the process of finalizing your loan. But even if you don't have the admission letter yet, you can still go ahead and apply through After School Africa for the MPOWER loan. There's an origination fee of 5%, but there's no upfront out-of-pocket payment required. There's no cash outlay for you to be able to apply for this loan. And then I don't know if there's any students on here who are not applying for fall next year, but if you are applying for spring or for a summer or a non-fall 2025 program, you do also, under this early planner rate, qualify to get a discount by enrolling in auto pay. So you can still be eligible for that 0.25 discount by enrolling in auto pay. Okay, I just want to take everyone through kind of how the application process works. So the first thing to do is to start your application, and there's an eligibility check that takes 30 seconds. So if you're even just thinking about applying for a loan, you can do that and just see, am I eligible? The next step is to provide your basic information. So things like your visa status, your immigration status. You also include the school that you're intending to study in, your standardized test scores, your employment details, what field, of study are you going into and what field of work are you in now. You'll include your financial information. So what existing funding do you have? Is there any debt, any disclosures that you need to provide on the financial side? And then finally, the ID documents for the final review of the application, and then you submit. So it really doesn't take that much time. I think within 15 to 20 minutes, you can submit a loan application. So then after a submission is made, there's an initial review and you'll see whether or not you have a conditional offer. If you get a conditional offer, then there are some further supporting documents that need to be uploaded. And I will share a list of documents that are needed with you, Ikenna, after this webinar, if you'd like to share with students if they're interested.
All right, that'd be great.
Then finally, there's a final review and a final approval. And once that approval is given, there's a promissory note for the student to sign saying, I agree to sign up for this loan. And then finally, with your visa approval letter, you'll matriculate to school, and we will do a certification check with the school and then disperse the funds directly to the school. Oh, and then finally, as I spoke about before, the interest payments start while you're in school and then repayment 6 months after graduation. Okay, some of the other support services that I talked about. So one, I know a lot of people ask questions about visa. We do offer visa support services. And actually through After School Africa, we have some even additional services to this, where you can do mock interviews with former visa consular officers. So you get really, really good practice going through that interview process and just practicing how it goes. Like I said, we also offer a visa support letter together with your loan approval. We also, like I spoke about, offer some financial services support. So things like a bank account and a credit card, and building your credit history in the country where you're studying. And then thirdly, we also offer some career services, career support services. So things like helping you search for an internship or a job, preparing your CV, and doing some customized job searching for your particular career. So there's a little bit more information about each of these wraparound services. We have a visa support course, like I said, it's an 8-unit course. And then there's the 2 mock interviews at the end, where you get particular coaching on your mock interview performance. Then in terms of the financial support, bank accounts through Zolve, you also get a credit card approval. And then you have, I'm sorry, I'm not actually familiar with this one, the secure F2P for data sharing. I don't actually know what that is, but the main message here is that you'll get the bank account and credit card in the country where you're studying.
Yep. Okay.
And then with regard to career support services, we have assistance with internship placements, especially with those on the F1 visa. So we really work together with our schools. So we have a whole team that is dedicated to relationships with the universities where we send students. And so we work very closely with them on placing students into internships. And then finally, after graduation, helping with job placement. So looking at the types of jobs that are available, especially to the universities where you're graduating from. Okay, great. So the last thing I'll just touch on very, very briefly is our Global Citizens Fund. So obviously our main offering to students is that we provide financing to help you get to the school you want to go to. But we do also offer some scholarships. And this is through the Global Citizens Fund. So we do this on an annual basis. It's across all the different matriculation seasons. So we offer global citizen scholarships. We also offer a Women in STEM scholarship, and we also have a monthly scholarship. So just work with when you're with After School Africa, if you want to have access to some of these scholarships, just ask for more details, and depending on your timing of application, we can point you in the right direction to try and apply for some of these scholarships. And with that, I think I will close out. I know that was a lot of information all at once, but I think I'll open up to questions. I'm happy to go over some of that information again if it was too fast, or if you have detailed questions about it, here to answer them.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That was quite packed, and I'm sure our listeners have taken a lot away. Lots of questions coming up here so far. So we're just going to look through them and take as much as we can.
Yeah, let me look through some of these questions in the chat. One thing I didn't touch on, which I should have made clear in the beginning. So like I said, we're supporting programs in both the US and Canada. We support graduate programs only. There's one small exception to that, which is if you're in your last 2 years of undergraduate, we will also potentially support your last 2 years of undergrad. We are supporting both STEM and MBA programs. We do some PhD programs, but it's pretty selective. So really, just to make that clear, we're supporting the STEM and MBA programs. So if there's something that's outside of that, it's probably unlikely that we support it. I think I saw a few questions on that, but I don't know if you want to open it up, Ikenna, or do you want to go through the chat for questions?
Yeah, I'm actually looking through them. Someone asking about bank statement. No, you can just send us a private message. We can respond to that, but that's not one of the services MPOWER provides. Okay, our WhatsApp number is shared on the chat, so you can contact us from there. Okay, list of schools, we will share that as well. Yeah. A rate of visa approval for students with MPOWER. Okay, is that something you want to speak on, Sabrina?
Sure, I can speak on that. So look, visa is really, really difficult for students coming from the African continent and especially from West Africa. I'm just going to be very upfront about that. It's really difficult. There's such a increase in the volume of students that are applying for visas, especially from West Africa. Some from East as well. Kenya is also pretty difficult now. And so the number of students that are applying is increasing much faster than the number of visas that are being granted. So there's more people applying for the same, if not like a few more spots. So what we do have data on is that students who go with an MPOWER loan have a higher rate of visa approval than those who don't. And I can't tell you why that is, but that is the case. And I would hope that it's because the student who's going with MPOWER loans has the full package of what the consulate office is looking for a student to go to the US or to Canada. I think financial support is incredibly important in that kind of review process. So that's great news for us. If you have the letter from MPOWER, that's it's kind of a bump in your chances.
Yeah. So in addition to that, I would advise that you go through the visa prep program that MPOWER provides. So you can reach out to us on that, so you can prepare yourself before going for the interview. That would help. It also helps in eventually getting your loan approved, your visa approved. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Someone is asking, can a fresh graduate with no work experience who wants to study masters immediately get loan from MPOWER?
That's a great question. So yes, you can. However, you have a better chance of getting the loan that you want if you have a few years of work experience, and particularly work experience in the field of study that you want to continue studying in.
Yeah.
So for example, if you want to go and become engineer in material sciences, but you're working in retail, that's not kind of the story that you want to tell in your application. You want to be working in the field where you then intend to study for your master's program. And then, yes, you also, if you can, get a couple of years of work experience under your belt. When it's about 3 years, that's when you really get like a bump in your in kind of your application, your score, your scoring for your loan. So around the 2 to 3 year mark is good for work experience before applying for the loan. It doesn't mean that you won't get a loan right out of undergrad. It's not like a discount on your application. It's more like you get a bump if you have a couple of years of relevant work experience.
Okay, and second question from same person: must I have part of my total study costs before I can secure an MPOWER loan? So in other words, can MPOWER fund entire study for a student?
Yes, up to 100K. So up to $100,000. That's the total amount that you can ever take from MPOWER as one person.
Okay.
But that's for, sorry, did I understand the question correctly? That it's for graduate study, correct?
Yeah, it's for graduate study. I think what the person is trying to ask is if they necessarily have to have some fund or probably some scholarship to support their funding. So they are not totally depending on Empower to support the entire study, both tuition and living expense. So does Empower consider that in making decisions for candidates?
MPOWER does not consider that. We do not, it's not contingent on you getting a loan. We do look at the whole package. I would recommend to people to have personal funds as well. More from, I don't know, Ikenna, you know better than I do, but more from what I hear about the visa application process, it's helpful to have personal funds plus a scholarship if you can, just as a whole package. So it's not required from us. I mean, we do look at it. We do look at your financial situation, but it's more, I think, to be to set yourself up for success. It's good if you can have personal funds as well.
Yeah, and from the visa application standpoint, you stand a better chance if you have other source of fund and not showing that you are totally depending on the loan for your entire study. So it helps to have other source of fund. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, about UK university, Empower only supports US and Canada, but probably there's some information I don't have. Sabrina, that's on the pipeline.
A couple years out.
Okay. So for now, it's
not yet.
Yeah, but for UK, you can reach out to us and we would guide you around that as well. Okay. Need assistance on how to apply for a loan? Send us a message on WhatsApp. We'll guide you on that.
I think that's the other thing I will highlight to everyone on this call. I know I sent a lot of information your way with this presentation. After School Africa can help you every step of the way. If you have any questions, any nervousness about, am I doing it correctly? Do I have the right document? After School Africa is there to support you through the process. And that is exactly why we partner with them, is because it can be a daunting process sometimes, even though we try and make it as simple as possible. But I really would encourage all students to lean on After School Africa for assistance anytime you have a question. And I just want to make sure that's heard loud and clear, is that you're not in this alone. You do have a supportive partner here to take you through the process.
Absolutely. Okay, about PhD students with graduation expected in 5 years, no. It has to be a 2-year program. If it's for PhD, I think Sabrina has already mentioned that you could be in 2 years for your graduation. Maybe Empower could support that, but for your entire 5 years, right? Yeah,
so check for PhD, you'll have to check. It's just a little bit more specific to each program. So if you're interested in looking at financing for your PhD, I would just check the website, the schools that are eligible. And then I think you can, again, either get in touch with us or send us a direct question about your program. We can answer it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, you can start without admission letter. It was mentioned you don't have to have admission letter before you can start your loan application.
Yeah, so what will happen is if you don't have your admission letter yet, you can go ahead and apply through the After School Africa website for the Empower loan. And then if you you'll get to that stage of conditional offer. And you'll have that conditional offer until you get your admission letter. And then once you show that you've got the admission letter, then you move further through the process of getting your approval and your promissory note, etc. So that's just a slightly, if you're starting without the admission letter, that's how it works.
Okay. We have a lot of questions. So you know what, we're going to put some of these common questions together and send an email.
Okay.
So we have the list of so everyone here. So we'll send an email responding to most of the common questions. And then if you have any particular challenge, you can reach out to us. Our phone number. We're also going to share our phone number in that email and some other links for you to take advantage of. The link to apply to check your eligibility. We're also going to share that. So because they have so much messages as it coming in, so probably wouldn't have the time to go through all of them.
Okay, I think that's great. Yeah, sharing some FAQ. And then, like I said, Ikenna, I'll share that list of documents that would be required for applicants, just so they kind of know what's coming before they apply. And then I'll just reiterate, again, that discounted rate is available for anyone who is applying to enter school in August or September of 2025, but the application needs to be in before December 31st of this year to apply for that rate for your loan. So just want to make sure that's on everybody's calendars if you're looking to find financing for next year.
Yeah, and to mention, the discount you're getting is quite significant compared to what the normal rate is. So if I were you, I would take advantage of this. You don't have to have started the application. You don't have to have gotten your admission letter, or we are hopeful that you'll be already taking the steps to start your application. So you can start, check your eligibility. That already locks you in. Your application would already be on the system and qualifies you for the discount. So do take advantage of it. We'll share more details on that. If you're not able to capture the link on the chat, because a lot of things are coming up, we've shared the link and the phone number, but we'll share it on email as well, so you can ensure that you don't miss out anything. Okay, so any final thoughts, Sabrina?
I guess final thought, I guess I've already said it, but I know that this process is long. I know it's sometimes daunting. MPOWER is really here to support students with all of their financial needs. And we try to make it as simple as possible and as painless as possible. But we also, like I said, we work with After School Africa precisely so that you can get the support you need throughout this process. So if there's anybody that has questions, like, do not be shy about reaching out to Ikenna for more information. We are here to support with any way that we can. So I hope this was informative. We'll probably do another one at some point in case you need a refresher. But I'm just really excited that there's so much interest. And I am really excited to hopefully see some of these names coming through our application process in the coming months.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so we are here to help, as Sabrina has already mentioned countless times. Reach out to us for any question, for guidance, and follow through for your application. We're here to provide you support from the beginning all the way through to your application approval. So, like I said, we're going to send out the email shortly after this webinar ends, and take advantage of it. Reach out to us on the phone number on WhatsApp, and go to the link and check your eligibility. Then at least that you can decide on the next step forward from there. And I wish you all the very best on that, because that's a life-changing opportunity out there we're talking about.
Let me ask a question, please.
All right.
Yeah, please, I want to find out. Those of us that we've already applied. Some of us who have applied earlier have been accepted, and we deferred our admission to fall 2025. What do we do? Should we reapply?
Okay.
Okay.
Sabrina, I want to say something on that.
I don't think you reapply. You can sign up for autopay to get further discount if you haven't already. But what I would do is, if you have already applied and you're concerned that you don't have the best rate, reach out through your portal to MPOWER and ask, hey, I found out about early planner rate. I don't think that I applied when this rate was on offer. Can you tell me, do I have the best rate? But the first thing you can do is check if you're enrolled in autopay, and that's an immediate 0.25% discount if you do that.
Okay. Yeah, so that clarifies.
Hello. Please, a really quick one. Does MPOWER support LLM programs?
I don't think so. I'm not going to say no because we support many programs. So you might want to just check which schools are on the website. There's some particular ones. If there's particular ones that you're looking at, I would just search for them on the website and see if they're there. But generally speaking, not really, no.
Yeah, but from experience,
My question.
From experience, we've actually seen approval for LLM program. However, what gets approval is only a percentage, like 10% of what you require. So if you are looking to get a loan to support your LLM program, most likely from experience, I would advise that you should have gotten your fund from other sources, like up to 80% of your fund, and then probably looking at 10% loan to augment what you already have. So that's what we typically see. But generally, as stated, courses that are much more have much more opportunities of approval are STEM programs, MBA programs, and healthcare programs. Generally, yeah. So that's that. So okay, that will be it for today. And thank you everyone for your time, for joining on this webinar. We look forward to having more of this and follow-ups. We have to end at this time. So send us a private message for any question you have. We will get back to you. The number is on the chat. I would also send it on via email, so you can reach out to us personally with any question that you have, and we would be there to answer any question that you have. So Sabrina, thank you, and look forward to having more of this in the near future.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ikenna.
All right. Bye.